The US military is sending humanitarian aid to women and children stuck in an ISIL convoy stranded in the Syrian desert following a coalition bombing. They had been given safe passage to head to an Islamic State-controlled area near the Iraq border as part of a deal brokered by the Syrian army and Lebanese Hezbollah fighters. With the story, here's Caleb Maupin.
So at this point, the road, which the ISIL convoy was taking through the desert, has been struck by U.S. coalition airstrikes. ISIL fighters were evacuating under a deal they made with the Hezbollah fighters. At this point, we have 17 buses, as well as other vehicles, full of ISIL fighters and their family members that are now stuck in the middle of the desert. Now, according to what we've heard from the U.S.-led coalition, they are now supplying food and water to the women and children on the convoy. Now, on Twitter, the U.S. military was very adamant that it was not providing any support, be it water or food or otherwise, to the ISIL terrorists. They insisted in a tweet from U.S. Central Command that the water and the food was only going to the women and children on the ISIL convoy. Now, one must ask, how is this being carried out? How are they making sure that the water and food is not being shared? These 17 buses on which the ISIL fighters are being transported also contain women and children. And how are they making sure that these women and children are not giving water and food from the United States and the U.S. coalition to their brothers and fathers who are ISIL fighters that are on the exact same buses that they are on? That question must be asked. Now, voices from the U.S. military have been highly critical of Hezbollah for negotiating and allowing the ISIL terrorists to evacuate. They've denounced this deal.
ISIS is a global threat. Relocating terrorists from one place to another for someone else to deal with is not a lasting solution.
Now, U.S. military leaders have made these statements and criticized this battlefield negotiation, despite similar actions being taken by their allies, the Kurds.
A convoy of Daesh fighters withdrew from the city to the north in a convoy of vehicles. Civilians were observed in the convoy, intermingled with the fighters in every vehicle. We have repeatedly mentioned the care that our partnered forces were taking to avoid civilian casualties and collateral damage. So the partnered forces on the ground did not engage the convoy.
So right now we have 17 buses full of ISIL fighters and their family members that are stuck in the middle of the desert. So who is to blame?
The Syrian regime is letting women and children suffer in the desert. The situation is completely on them.